This is the second season of the Newkid vlog. Hey yo, and we're coming to you live, bringing you the best of what it is to be right here with the Newkid in the vlog. This is the second episode of the second season, and in the building we have none other than. In fact, let me leave those gymnastics and sensationalization, because this one is a very personal episode to me. Today we have someone who, from what I've seen, is given himself to informing, the youth, especially of the country, on whatever topic he's on about at that time. Ladies and gents, Mr. Nota Baloyi. How's it, Nota?
I'm good, thanks. Yeah. Introductions are always difficult to do.
Yeah.
Nah, you always it's like the person is sitting right next to you and then they're like waiting to hear, what is this guy going to say about me? Like, you know what I mean? You don't want to offend the person, but you never know what could offend the person. Maybe they like a modest person and they don't want to hear all these funny or strange compliments. Yeah. Which one is my camera? That one, eh? Or that one?
That's your camera.
This one.
That's our white shot. Yeah.
Okay, that's our white shot. Yeah. So you never know. So no. Thank you for the introduction and thank you for having me.
Absolutely, it's an absolute pleasure, man. We're happy to have you. We haven't really, and I want to mention this just before we get into the topics that we want to tackle today. I want to mention this, that again, you've given a lot of your time to a lot of these young kids that want to curate content and want to put content out there. And for me, it's something so important, because we struggle with finding the people to have on such platforms, and you really just put your time out there. So I just want to give you a shout out, bro, because even having this conversation with you wasn't difficult. You said, listen, bro, I remember you from the time we met. I'm definitely coming on. So again, thanks for rocking up. And having said that, man, I want to hop straight into it. Recently, it was June 16, and I know you're someone who really is concerned about the youth, and you've made mention, if I can quote you, and just to show the members of the Newkid in the vlog how really concerned you are about the youth. Nota once mentioned that in the near future, if you're not coding or if you're not an artist, that you're probably not going to find a job. The market's not going to be viable for you to find a job if you're just another accountant or any other profession. So today we have you to talk about specifically that, the youth, and specifically the youth in entertainment, and how they can go about doing the right thing as far as putting themselves in the right spaces, doing the right thing in terms of having the business acumen that music or entertainment demands you to have. That's where we are today.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, that's very broad.
Yeah.
But I mean, the first thing is just take yourself seriously. I find a lot of people just do what they think is cool.
Yeah.
Or what they think will make them cool, or you know what I mean? They don't actually have a passion for anything. They don't actually have a drive to do anything, and that just doesn't bode well for them in anything that they want to do.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you want to own a security company, or you want to be a security guard, or you want to be a bodyguard and protect people, or you want to be a policeman, you need to have some level of dedication to whatever it is that you're doing, that shows that, at least, if anything, you want to earn respect for what you do.
Yeah.
If nothing else, it's like a policeman who's drinking, smoking, it shows that you don't respect the badge that you're wearing. Yeah. Or some kid in school uniform who, is at a tavern or something like that, just shows that you don't have respect for what that uniform represents. Yeah. Or the fact that, you've got an opportunity to learn something that will enrich your life and also allow you to navigate society as someone who other people can recognize as someone who's at least done enough to be or at least be considered as a contributing member of society. Yeah. It's like when you go to school so that when you finish school and everything else, you and people of your age are on the same level. We understand the same things. Yeah. We know the same things. That's what the education system is there for, at least on a basic level. And then beyond that, everyone goes into their own specialities. Everyone goes into whatever they're passionate about. Some people become scientists and doctors. Other people become accountants or whatever it is that you become. Other people become sportsmen and athletes. So at least we know from your certain educational background that you've got the competencies that are needed or required for you to be at least a valuable member of society or have the basic capabilities that we expect of everybody. Other than that, you're only as smart as you want to be. Yeah. You know what I mean? I think your intelligence is derived from your level of curiosity and your determination to fulfill your curiosity with, or to be inquisitive. Like there are a lot of people who know a lot up until a certain extent about a certain thing, and then that's where they cap it. Yeah. And they end up being old and stupid.
Yeah. So that's quite broad, because we're talking generally now. But now let's make this about you and you compared to a regular kid in the hood. What set you apart from every other kid who? How old were you when you managed Twista? When you started managing Twista?
You see, for me, it wasn't really like I've never actually ever managed any artist. Okay. That's not what I was paid to do. That's not what I was being compensated at. As I've been more a record executive, okay, a producer. I came up from an intern at Bada Bing, okay, and I started interning there when I was 19. Yeah. Okay. So fresh out of high school. Okay. But before then, I was already working in music since the age of like 14. Well, I could say 12 when I first started, composing music.
So I guess what I really want to ask specifically is you were in a space where you had peers and you guys were consuming the same knowledge. What set you apart from every other Tom, Dick, and Harry that was around you at the time, and that made you?
We weren't consuming the same thing.
Okay.
That's another thing. I've had peers, but I've never been really one to say I've got friends. Like I've got peers, I've got people that I know in school. We go to class together, we go to school together, and everything else. And that's basically my social circle. Yeah. And it's limited to that. I've never gone out there, tried to make friends or made friends. Yeah. No. I've just found my age mates and we can have conversation and stuff like that. But I've never actually actively, tried to make friends. And also my level of interest in certain things, like I was more interested in things that adults were interested in. Okay. So like I'd find myself having conversations with grown people, old people, adults and stuff like that. Like whenever I'd visit family members, I'd be sitting with the adults, having conversation with grown men, about the issues of this world and everything else. Yeah. And I wouldn't be found playing or running around or kicking a ball. Even though I could do that, I was really competent at that,
So you played soccer?
Yeah, I did. I played a lot of sports. I played club football. I was the captain of the team when I was under 12. And then...
But you went to a school in the Northcliffe?
Yeah, I was going to club football. No, I went to school in Northcliffe, okay, in primary school. My first year in primary school, I was at Sharon Lee Primary. And just the learning gap between me and the other kids was just too vast.
Yeah.
I started reading at 4, I think. Yeah, I started reading at 4. So, by the time I went to primary school, like the stuff that I'd read and everything else, like you can't teach me how to read. You can't teach me Paul and Pex.
Do you think that's one of the reasons why a lot of people, or let me rather say, do you think that's one of the reasons you give out knowledge and it's not accepted as much as anyone else would give out knowledge and that would be accepted?
I don't.
So people always have something.
I just share what I've learned.
Yeah.
I just share what I've learned. You know what I mean? And I'm always learning. So like even that, I'm not attached to it. I'm not married to things I've said in the past or things I've learned in the past, because I've also done a lot of unlearning.
Okay.
For me, it's not even about acceptance. I honestly don't care. You know what I mean? It's like I'm just doing me. I'm just being me, and I like sharing what I've learned. That's like that. That's it. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I like learning from other people as well. I'd like them to share what they've learned with me. Yeah. You know what I mean? I like finding out about other people. I mean, even before we started this whole entire thing, I actually wanted to find out, okay, do a background check on you and what's your... It's not really a background check, but I just was inquisitive. I was like, okay, what are you into? You know what I mean? So, I don't know, man. You can't change people's minds in this day and age for some odd reason. Like, people are not about learning. They're not about to improve themselves. They're not about getting better. And it just makes it hard to have constructive conversations with people. So for me, I either gravitate towards people who are willing to learn, who are open to having open conversations, and those who are not, I mean, they miss it. And that's on them, it's their loss.
Are you open to being challenged though?
Yeah. Like I'm open to being challenged, but I mean, like, what is the nature of the challenge? It's like, now I've got a very public persona. Yeah. It's not like someone is challenging me because I just said something that they disagree with. They're challenging me to prove that they're smarter than me. Because every Tom, Dick, and Harry has watched a podcast and seen me on it and thinks to themselves, okay, let me challenge this guy. Let me prove that this guy is not as smart as he thinks he is. And like, how smart do you think I am? How do you know what I think? You know what I mean? It's one of those things. But at the same time, I've been challenged a lot of times. I love debating. I love debating. I don't think I ever lose a debate. Like, seriously, like it's even something my wife knows about me. She's like, no, I don't want to debate with you because you will stop at nothing to win the debate. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, which sometimes isn't really the most constructive way to debate.
Yeah. And it also builds this misconception around you that no, you can't disagree with Nota, more especially publicly, and get away with it, for lack of better expressions. The idea is always, or people are always, Nota always thinks he's right.
Yeah, well, I mean, no, that's what they use to discredit anything I say.
Yeah.
It's like, is he right or is he wrong? Let's start there.
That's the basis.
Don't say he thinks he's always right.
Yeah.
Now, okay, because he thinks he's always right, I don't like that about him.
Yeah.
It's not about whether you like me or not. I don't like you. I'm not going to marry you or anyone in your family and any of your ugly sisters, So, and that's not a swear word. So, so if anyone takes offense, either, you're attracted to your own sisters or you know what I mean? So, again, I can do that too. You understand what I'm saying? So, like, that's just an example of how I can pose something that can make whoever's on the receiving end, whoever's the subject of what I've just said, unable to have a proper rebuttal. It's like if I say, like, if you think your sister's hot, then you're into incest. Now you have to say that your sister's ugly to you. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if I say Nota always thinks he's right, he has to say, no, sometimes I'm wrong. Yeah. Oh, okay, so you're wrong about this. No, about
That's
what?
Not the point, yeah.
About what? So what am I wrong about?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, you know, people like to weaponize their ways of argument, and it doesn't even contribute to the debate. It's like, okay, fine. If you've got some other information that you want to bring to the table, bring it to the table, and let's discuss that, and let's have a discussion. You know what I mean? Just because I take a certain posture, or take a certain position, does not mean that I'm married to it. I'm not stuck there. You know, two things can be true at the same time.
Yeah.
And some things that are true invalidate things that are false.
Yeah.
And, you know, we need to first interrogate the facts before we can arrive at what's true and what's false. And if things are both true, then we can concede that, okay, fine, two things are true at the same time. I mean, multiple things can be true at the same time. You know what I mean?
A lot of things aren't mutually exclusive.
You understand? So that's the thing, is that also there's nuance to certain things. And because you take a certain position, people see you as adversarial to other people who take other positions. And that's what I find is, like, you know, it's a destructive culture. It's like, I can disagree. I can say, listen, I don't agree with how you do things. Doesn't mean that I hate you. Doesn't mean that I've got like a dartboard and I'm throwing darts at your face when I'm at home. You don't even come up in my thinking. You know what I mean? My thinking is more on, you know, like how nice my dinner was, or something like that, or, you know, whether I should, you know, pack the dishwasher. Like, that's, I'm like a normal human being. So, like, that's what, you know,
crosses your mind.
That's what crosses my mind. Not what someone said or what someone did or anything else like that. If I comment on something that I observe and that I see, that's in that moment, and that's it. Once I'm done, I've moved on. Yeah,
and I guess these conversations are necessary because everything for me is about how you carry yourself out there and how you represent yourself and what image you portray of yourself. Which brings me to, like, my next question. Nota, you, in the public eye, have been, I'm not going to say absent, but you've never been on people's screens as often as you are recently. And a lot of people, you know, have built this narrative around that there's an agenda that you're pushing. And is there an agenda?
Everyone has got an agenda.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that doesn't mean that I didn't have an agenda 15 years ago when I wasn't sharing my opinion, or I wasn't in the public eye.
Which one now is forcing you out of...
It's not about forcing... It's not about... Nothing forces me or nothing... It's just the time that I decided that now is the time for me to, you know, make myself known.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And for me, it's very simple to make myself known. I've been able to use my knowledge to make other people known.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And it doesn't mean that I can't do it for myself, or I can't do it when I choose, or I can't do it when I please. And so that offends other people.
Yeah.
Because they sit at home and they think, oh, how am I going to break out? How am I going to make sure that people know what my work is? How am I going to give myself a voice? Yeah. And they have no clue how to do that. And I'm an expert at it.
Yeah.
I can do it for you, but I choose not to. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, I do it for you. It's not going to pay my kids' school fees.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what I'm about. I've transitioned into a phase where, you know, I've built up my knowledge, I've experimented, you know what I mean? And now I'm all about providing for my family, you know? And in this world, it takes a personal brand. I mean, like, what are we investing in? Are we investing in Tesla, or are we investing in Elon Musk?
Is that a question?
You know what I mean? It could be, you could answer it. Like, what are you invested in?
I think I'm invested in...
I mean, you don't have to own stock.
Yeah.
But what are you invested in? Are you invested in the idea of an electric car as Tesla, or you're invested in the idea of Elon Musk's success?
for the larger part, I think I'm invested in Elon Musk and I'll tell you just as an example, I was following Dogecoin and how he put his weight behind it and its subsequent crash and what might have led to that. And I realized that he's got the potential to sway a lot of things in whatever direction he's thinking at the time. Because Doge went from, and I'm not someone who's been
into crypto,
but I saw Dogecoin go from like less than a cent to 30 cents to 70 cents after he had put his credibility behind that idea. So I think maybe that's my approach and in life in general. I always put my confidence in the most knowledgeable person in the room.
So
and that's why you're sitting here.
So, they were able to do that with his partners for X.com, which is now PayPal.
Yeah.
They were able to do that with his brother initially for Zip 2.0.
Yeah.
Which was the first company that they built, which is the company that allows us to navigate right now and have maps on our whatever you call it, Waze or whatever it is, Google Maps, same owner. So that's the way in which things work these days.
Yeah.
Are we invested in Microsoft and Satya Nadella, who's the CEO currently, or are we invested in the company that Bill Gates built?
Yeah. Okay, so I wanna.
Are we invested in Standard Oil, which has been broken up into all these companies, Chevron and everything, or are we invested in Rockefeller? Are we invested in AT&T now, or are we invested in the Bell Company, which invented the telephone in the first place and patented it first? And was then, because of antitrust laws in the US, split up into different companies. You know what I mean? What are we invested in? The Western world has created figures behind all the biggest corporations. And that's just the way in which they build their businesses, whereas in the East, like if you look at the big Japanese corporations, they're not really centered around a person. Whether you look at Toshiba, you look at Sony, you look at whatever comes from Japan. When you look at the West, Europe, especially, after the big royal families economically collapsed and everything else. You look at the Rothschilds family. You look at J.P. Morgan. You know what I mean? J.P. Morgan and Chase. You know what I mean? All the big banks are named after their founders, the Lehman Brothers. You know what I mean? And it was established as family businesses. Johnson and Johnson. You know what I mean? Who own Janssen, the company that makes the one-dose vaccine.
Are we invested in them? Or
are we invested in the product that they sell?
Yeah.
So now when you ask me, okay, fine, is there an agenda? Of course, everyone has got an agenda. Everyone wants to make their mark in this world. You know what I mean? I've made my mark in this world without anybody knowing me, right? But now I don't want to be making my mark at a philanthropic level where I'm taking people from A to B without it bringing direct benefit to me and my family name. You know what I mean? I've been able to do that for many other people. I mean, even people like where I was an intern at Bada Bing and Ventilation. I brought a lot of value to that business. You know what I mean? My ideas, my thinking, the way in which I saw opportunities and solutions in the problems that were of the time, and they still derive benefit from those opportunities I helped create. You know what I mean? Whether he wants to admit it or not, there would not be a Slicker on Life without the work that was being done at Ventilation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Without me introducing him to social media and how you could leverage off of that. You know what I mean? Because Slick on Life was built off of his social media platforms.
Yeah.
That's where it started. That was what was directing traffic. I was the one who built those social media platforms for him. You know what I mean? And maintained them and gave them a persona and created the content for them. You know what I mean? And curated it. You know, so you know that's one thing. You know, but that doesn't feed my family.
Yeah.
And that hasn't impressed upon them the need to say, hey, this is the person that actually helped us build this thing that's paying the bills and keeping the lights on where we are. Let's compensate this person for that. You know, even if we can't recompensate them with like something of monetary value, pay homage.
Yeah.
You know, because that's what we do.
Yeah.
That's what one does, you know. But they don't see that. So, you know, I've gone through the phases of like feeling hard done by, whatever, you know what I mean? And then it arrived me to a point where I was like, okay, fine. I've been able to achieve all these things. I've been able to assist all these people to have something for themselves, right? Let me now take that same thing and invest it in myself, and then use myself as a platform for my visions and my dreams without having to involve anybody else. And that's what I'm doing. People will be mad at that. I will not care. You know.
Do you think there's a disconnect between what you choose to display, especially on social media? I know whether it's because of your Twitter account now that you're really, really on Instagram, but you've been an Instagram person for quite some time.
I had an Instagram platform, but I never used it.
Yeah. So do you think there's a disconnect?
I hated Instagram.
Yeah.
Because like for me, I studied the platforms before I used them, and just the compulsive nature and how triggering the app actually is, and the fact that it actually shows you stuff not in a timeline. It actually serves you stuff.
Yeah.
So basically, they check
create
your
content
for you, and they check your previous behavior,
Yeah.
and they see which type of content will keep you on the platform even longer, which content will trigger you into, you know, either engaging with you're gonna see something, and now all of a sudden you want to rant, you want to do a live, you know what I mean? So I don't like that, but there's a lot of people on that platform. And I watched it grow faster than any other platform before it. You know, it grew faster than, like, its growth rate was faster than Facebook. Its growth rate was faster than Twitter. I think it's even bigger than Twitter in terms of how many people use Instagram as compared to Twitter. You know, even though it chows so much data.
Yeah.
So, like, for me, Twitter suspended my account because, you know, I had posted a tweet that went viral, and then it affected their business.
Which tweet ultimately got your account suspended?
When I was basically replying to the whole entire Jay-Z, Kanye West, whole entire thing.
Oh, okay.
So basically, to take you through what happened is that Kanye posted his contracts. I read through a summary of his contracts and everything else, you know, and I summarized them for the layman who doesn't understand how recording contracts work. And basically, what I surmised is that because Jay-Z had sold Rockefeller to Def Jam and already basically forced the hands of his other partners in the company, because it was a 50-50 equity split between between Def Jam. Between Def Jam and him and his partners, yes. So if there's three of us, say, and we each own 16.6% of this company, three of us makes up 50%, right?
Yeah.
If one of us now sells our 16%, the other two are now minority shareholders.
Yeah.
And they relinquish control. So it's basically you force their hands. Now they're forced to sell. And, you know, they could be forced to sell right now when the offer is at its highest, or they could hold out for as long as possible and we'll drive down the value of this percentage that they own and then buy it from them at the point where they realize that, okay, we need to cut our losses and get out. You know what I mean? Or they could be forced to sell because they don't want to be stuck or in bed with the partners that you're leaving me behind with. And obviously, it was a slick business move, shrewd, you know. And for me, I didn't mean it like to make Jay-Z seem like a bad guy, but he's not a bad guy, but he's a shrewd businessman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He saw his partners as liabilities in terms of his growth as a businessman.
Yeah.
And he cut his losses and said, okay, fine, I'm going to sell this company. The thing is that when he cut his losses, he might not have known that Kanye West would then create, you know, possibly the most valuable singles artist's catalog in hip-hop history and maybe in even music history.
Yeah.
He probably didn't see Kanye as the Michael Jackson of hip-hop.
And just give me a timeline. When was this happening?
In October last year.
Okay.
So, you know, that whole entire thing, you know, people then came at me. Obviously, Jay-Z's married to Beyonce, so all the Beyonce fans, if you say anything bad about Jay-Z, they're going to come at you. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, like, I'm now dealing with thousands, hundreds of thousands of people that are treating me. You know what I mean? Because, like, this thing gets everywhere. It's worldwide. If you go onto YouTube and you say Kanye West contract, Jay-Z sold Kanye's masters, you go into YouTube and search that, you'll find my tweets. You'll see my account. You say the authority said, and the people saw it. It's actually very credible what I said. Yeah. And because Jack Dorsey, who's the owner or CEO of Twitter, you know, who also cut his partner out, one of the founders of Twitter, when it was first audio. You must
I'll check that out.
You must check that out. You know what I mean? Jack Dorsey was like, we can't have this guy on the platform because he's gonna drive down the value of Tidal, which we're trying to acquire. You know what I mean? Just this whole entire storm. And especially after Kanye, you know, responded to it. You know?
Yeah.
And Kanye responded to it in a nice way, in like, he didn't like put me on blast like he'd put other people on blast, because that would have killed me.
Yeah.
But he took the academics post and then responded to it, and like he's responding to my tweets, so he's responding directly to me.
Yeah.
And it just put me at crossroads with 3 billionaires.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And now I realize, okay, that's the power of the platform Twitter. You know, you could now be in the conversation, in the mix.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where 3 billionaires, Jay-Z, Jack Dorsey, Kanye West are discussing you and discussing something you've posted. And, you know, unfortunately, I did it on the platform owned by one of the billionaires who's about to go into business with the other billionaire. Yeah. And they did what billionaires do, which is deplatform.
Let's mute this one.
You understand? So I was like, you know what I mean? Cool. Cool. We'll discuss it when we see him.
Yeah.
We'll see if we see him.
Yeah.
So, you know, that just showed me that, okay, damn it. Maybe I'm operating on a completely different level.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm operating on a similar level to them. You know what I mean? And for me, I was like, okay, fine, they're going to suspend me. Okay, fine. Let me open up another account. And then I opened up another account, and then like it gained followers very quickly as well. So I was like, yeah, clearly, you know, people want, like, I got to prove to myself that people want to hear what I'm saying. And then after that, you know, I was like, damn it, this guy canceled my original account. I'm going to see him face to face. I'm going to speak to him and say, Jack, unsuspend my account. And that's the only way I'll actually come back to Twitter. But then in April this year, I realized that, okay, fine. I saw that I might need to open my Twitter account again. Yeah. So, you know, as you guys would know, because it became very hotly publicized, you know, the whole entire fallout of RapLyf, you know. And RapLyf is more of a crew than it is a company, because obviously the company was not really a thing. It didn't actually it did exist. It did turn money, but in terms of what was being presented to the public, it wasn't what it was. So I knew that, okay, fine, the fallout from this is going to become something that could be weaponized against me at some point in time.
Yeah.
So I opened up another Twitter account at the beginning of April. I knew that there was a new Twista album that was coming, and I was like, in the unlikely chance that he might want to use his Twitter platform, which I built for him, to slander me in any way, I need to be able to be on this same platform and respond.
Yeah.
And what happened, as I predicted, you know what I mean? That's what he tried to do. And basically I responded, you know what I mean? Like, I just blew all the credibility, all the lies that he told. You know, he told people, oh no, Nota didn't handle the finances and what. It's just a whole lot of nonsense and a whole lot of BS and a whole lot of maybe the reason why you don't have business partners in your business right now, because you don't want to deal with someone, you know what I mean? Like, number one, like, he went out there into the public for the longest time saying, yo, we've got this company called RapLyf, and this is how it works. Completely a lie.
Okay.
And to keep up this lie that he told South Africa, you know, he would stop at nothing. And it all came crumbling down. And when it came crumbling down and came crashing down, there were casualties.
Yeah.
And the casualties were the people that worked for the company.
Mark and the likes.
Myself. I was a casualty. You understand? I'm a victim in this whole entire situation. I never went out there and told people that, yo, I've got this company that I own called RapLyf and everything else. Just because I've got the capability to dig myself out of any mess doesn't mean that I'm not a victim. Doesn't mean that I didn't lose. Doesn't mean that I wasn't stolen from. Doesn't mean that company funds weren't embezzled. They were embezzled. It's not an allegation.
Yeah.
It's not an allegation. I was there.
What's been fed to the public is that you came out on top.
I did. It's not what's fed on. I did. After
you picked yourself up.
After I picked myself up, dust myself off. You know what I mean? I went. You know, I handed in my CV. Elsewhere, I got myself an alternative job so that I could at least maintain an income and stuff like that. And then I rebuilt myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? From that. So, you know, I could see that, okay, fine. I'm going to need this Twitter account to at least clear up the air.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, you know, he went on, he posted tweets, he tried to sort of like apologize, but he didn't apologize because he continued to lie. He went on to MacG's podcast and he lied there. You know what I mean? Like, lied about things he didn't need to lie about. Yo, who owns RapLyf? I don't know. We know, you know. Okay, people go out to CIPC, they see the information there. And who owns Renovate, the company that I was employed at, the company that was paying my salary, you know what I mean? He owns Renovate, you know what I mean? With his business partner, you know what I mean? They were our employers.
Yeah.
They ran the company into the ground.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then when they ran the company into the ground, they still want to now tarnish my good name, you know, my good business name. And I was like, I'm not going to have that, number one.
Yeah.
And I am going to ensure that you wear the shame of what you've done. Yeah. Like, it's not like you're going to gas 70 or 75 million Jews and then continue with your life as normal. No.
Yeah.
I'm going to take you back to Auschwitz. You know what I mean? I'm going to take you back there, and now you're going to take accountability. And the way in which you take accountability for that is that all this commotion that this thing is going to cause, this explosion, is going to overshadow anything that you're trying to do to move on.
Yeah.
A new album was released and everything else. Is anyone speaking about that? No. Does anyone care about that? No. No one cares about it. Yes, you can release a new song. It can be back announced on the radio. No one gives a damn. You understand? But one thing is for sure, is that my brand is on the up and up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's something that he now cannot stop. He has to sit at home and watch it and see people talk about me and see people, engage me and see people either love or hate me and see how I engage with that. And he's got no part to play in that. All he needs to do is wait for when it's time to send an invoice and receive his royalty check from my record label. And that is it. It's a fiduciary obligation. And that is where the relationship is at that point in time.
Well, what's the biggest lesson you've taken away from RapLyf?
The biggest lesson is to make it a lesson.
Okay. Away.
Make it a lesson. That's what I've done. That's why I said, listen, guys, this is a failure of mine in my life. You understand? I was working at this company, trying to get it to a certain point and everything else, and it collapsed and everything else, But to me, it's no fault of mine what actually happened. You know what I mean? And it's not to say that I don't take any blame. I had no control. I actually did not have the control. I'm not an owner in the company. I'm not a shareholder in the company. I'm just an employee. You know what I mean? If you're an employee or you were an employee at Outsurance, if it comes down, it burns to the ground, they're going to blame Dow Stain, not you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's...
Those things
no. It's all owned. All of them. Auto in general, Outsurance, Dial, it's all one company. You understand? Hippo, it's all one company.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? It's all got one owner. You know what I mean? It's all got... Yeah, exactly. So...
Except for Outsurance.
Okay, whatever. Yeah, whatever. Then whatever. Okay, maybe not Outsurance. Yes, the other ones. Sorry, Auto in general and the other ones. Yes, but anyway. But you work at Outsurance. You worked at Outsurance. So...
So what was...
So as I was saying, is that it needs to be a lesson.
Yeah.
And the lesson hasn't been had because we don't learn anything from, you know what I mean? As much as we respect and we call it legendary, we don't learn anything from Kalawa.
Yeah.
They haven't taught us how the business works or anything. Oh, yes, they've been able to keep it together for however long or whatever. But we've never learned
anything. Is there anyone who's worked at Kalawa who's gone on to start something that is at the same magnitude? I don't think so.
Well, the artists have gone on to do great things. The artists that were there, they've gone on to do great things, like your Maporisas and everything else. And he's building something that's maybe going to be of the same magnitude. He's building the next Kalawa with these New Money Gang, Black Boy Music, Piano Hub. You know what I mean? So once that's consolidated and we look back at it, you'll be like, hey. Maybe that's the next Kalawa. So Maporisa might be able to do that, but he had to step out first, and do it on his own. We've never learned anything from 999. We've never learned anything from any of these big black legacy labels. You understand? And whether they're still successful or not, you know what I mean? At least let us learn something. Let us, who's looking up to these companies, who's admiring them, let us learn something the same way we're able to learn from Steve Jobs and Apple Music, or Apple, the same way we're able to learn from Reid Hoffman and LinkedIn or PayPal, or with the same way we're able to learn from Elon Musk and SpaceX and Tesla, the same way we're able to learn from John D. Rockefeller and, Standard Oil and everything that they were able to build. The same way we're able to learn from the Carnegie Steel Company. The same way we're able to learn from J.P. Morgan, and we're not able to learn from these companies because they don't produce institutions. What have you learned from Bada Bing Ventilation?
In fact, for me, it's all these record labels. I learned what a gatekeeper sounds and looks like. That's the only thing I learned.
No, but I'm just saying, it's like, you don't know what Bada Bing is doing now. You don't know why Slicker left Bada Bing.
Yeah.
You don't know why a squatter camp didn't stay at Bada Bing.
Yeah.
You don't know any of these things because these things are the failures that they hide.
Yeah.
And then they come out into this world and then they sit down and they say a balcony interview and then, hey, let me give you advice on your career. You're giving me advice on my career but at the same time, you're hiding the fact that your record label failed and you didn't know what you were doing there and everything else. And you're not saying, hey, I didn't know what I was doing back then. You're saying, let's just continue. I've started a new thing. Now look at this. It must look like a shining success. You know what I mean? You're not telling people, okay, this is how many people I employ. I've been running this company for how long? You know what I mean? You are able to tell people, oh, no, I make 500,000 rands a month, or I invoice, I turn over 500,000 rands a month.
Yeah.
But how many people does Slicker on Life employ? And how much do they earn?
Yeah.
And how far are they in life? You know what I mean? Because a guy like a Slicker needs to look at a guy like me and think that damn, that guy used to be an intern at my company and look at what he's doing right now.
Look at the strides. Which also, I don't want us to digress too much. I want to find out from you, because this, I think, is a question that a lot of people want to know. What was the functionality of Urbantainment in...
It is.
Okay, yeah, it's still definitely in existence. And by saying what was, I'm just talking about timelines.
Yeah.
More than its existence or, you know. So what was the function of Urbantainment and what did it contribute to what was RapLyf at the time?
Nothing.
And
so basically, Urbantainment has always been the record company.
okay.
You understand? It's always been my company, and that's what it ran. Urbantainment, I had a licensing deal, right? At Sony. We were still licensed to Sony, you know what I mean? And I've even said before, you know what I mean? We will be for, you know, maybe another year or so. It's always been the record company. So beyond that, you know, because everybody else wanted to have their own thing and wanted it to be out there, I never wanted anybody to know what Urbantainment is or why until I decide. That's my control again. And you know, everything, all the way up until Tuskave or Njandini.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? From Njandini backwards.
Yeah.
All the way from whether it's Dakar, you know what I mean? Those are the albums we released, the projects that we released. Okay. You know what I mean? The project that I even started Urbantainment. Urbantainment was the company that was the service provider to Bada Bing Ventilation. So to say I was an intern is like what, you know, was presented as, but I was actually a subcontractor. I was a label services company from the beginning. I was providing them with label services, whether it be social media marketing, all these. I was providing Bada Bing and Ventilation with label services. You know what I mean? And so that's what I've been doing from the outset. A&Ring services, producing, you know what I mean? Like, you know, I executive produced the first Special Request. You know what I mean? The fact that it was an album that was put together by me and everything. The only contribution that Slicker had in that album was to donate a track, a beat, which he'd written a hook for, and which became the first single, which was Stomp. And, you know, it was a nice beat, nice to rap on and everything else, you know what I mean? The hook, not really the greatest. 1, 2, 3 stomps, you know what I mean? It's like a cheesy ass hook. It is. If you compare it to a hook like Boom Shakalaka, which is a hook I wrote. Yeah. You know, completely level. Or you compare it to a hook like Nyas Felangawe, which is another hook I wrote. You know what I mean? Light years. So, you know, but that was the record label. Yeah. And that's who was going to release. So, you know, whatever it is, it took long enough to convince them to actually release the project. Yeah. When the project gets released, you know, it gets 2 summer nominations. And instead of Slicker saying, yo, Nota, hi, you believed in this product, you did a marketing plan for it, whatever, you got 2 summer nominations. Slicker also released his own album, VV3, the same year, which got 1 nomination. Okay, fine. because of his competitive nature and everything else, he's like, yeah, no, but they only giving you all these nominations because you're new.
Hey, that's distasteful.
That's distasteful, but I mean, yeah, maybe it's too humble. You're okay, but dude, come on, dude, it's his first album. He just got 2 big summer nominations. He
Yeah.
comes from K1, you know what I mean, a township where you came from as well. At least give him the props that he deserves. Say, yo, nicely done, and give the guys who worked on it and who actually argued and lobbied for this project to be out, give them their due props and say, yo, good call, guys. Well done.
Yeah.
Instead of going out there now because it makes you look good. Yeah. No, this is us. This is bada bing. This is what we do. It's like, no, it's not you. It's not what you did. You know what I mean? That was fucking Nota. You know what I mean? That's what that nigga did. You know what I mean? He made the company look good. He added value.
Yeah.
What did my man's album do?
Yeah.
What did Tito Minato's album do?
Yeah.
What did any other product from Bada Bing do? And then after, okay, fine, we didn't win Best Hip Hop that year. You know what I mean? We nominated in the same category. I'm with the principal on it. Fine, we didn't win Best Newcomer. And obviously, you can only be nominated and win that album with the Best Newcomer once.
Yeah.
But a couple years later, 2 albums later, we swept the freaking Summers. So now what? Is it because you're new?
You kind of like proved it the first time around.
And now it can't be, because what is it because? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you still want to hold on to that as if you had any contribution. You didn't do that. That's Urbantainment. Now it's 100%. Now Urbantainment is also the record company. It's not just the label services provider. It's the record company. You understand? That's all the credit that Urbantainment deserves. You understand? And had it not been for Urbantainment, the homeboy would be struggling, left in K1, trying to figure out what happened with his career, because he thought that, being at Bada Bing was the meal ticket and was going to get him to, to the moon, like Dogecoin is supposed to be on. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's another thing. It's like a complete erasure. And that's why I was like, okay, fine, I can at least, they can't erase my work on these platforms. That's why, I'm active on Instagram, and that's what I've been doing on Instagram. It's like I've been sharing. If you look at my Instagram profile, like since last year or since before then, I've been sharing the work that I've done. And the reason why I've been sharing it and going at it like this is because I realized that, life is fragile. I could die tomorrow.
Yeah.
And imagine if I die and the mark that I made in this world is unknown.
Yeah.
Then what the difference that I'm supposed to make is diminished by that. You know what I mean?
It becomes worse if it's at the hand of someone else.
Yeah. And I can't trust these niggas, because while I was alive, they couldn't even give me credit for the work that I've done. So if I'm dead, they're gonna take even
They handle the narrative.
They're gonna make it seem as if you know what I mean, and that's the thing. And I've got great admiration and always had great admiration for a former colleague of mine and someone I worked closely with, Peko. And when he died, I saw the same thing. Dudes acting like, they always believed in him. They always, vouched for him. And it's like, nah, niggas. Y'all niggas, nah. When y'all had the opportunity to give Peko an opportunity, y'all didn't call Peko and say, yo, I've got an opportunity for you. Y'all didn't. Y'all wanted to use him.
Yeah.
That's it. Let me tell you something. I had an opportunity for Peko. I called him up. I was like, yo, I've got this opportunity for you. You know what he did? He said, Mhlamolo, I appreciate that, but you know what? I've got someone else who'd be perfect for that.
That's selflessness.
And less than a year later, he dies. And before he dies, I talked to him about, you got to stop putting everybody ahead of yourself.
Yeah.
Because when you die, all these motherfuckers that you put ahead of yourself, They're going to say some nice things at your funeral, and then they're going to be out moving on with their lives. They're not going to give a shit about you.
Yeah.
And they don't. And then what happened? A month later, he was dead. You know? So, for me, you know, it impressed upon me the need to, you know, actually, you know, get my story out there. Use whatever means I have, you know, it's fine. I don't give a damn if SABC1 is not going to put me on their TV channel.
Yeah.
You know, I'm known everywhere. Anybody who's on SABC1 is known.
Yeah.
Just off the internet or whatever. You know what I mean?
And there, you're the one that controls the narrative.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, I control my narrative.
Yeah.
I don't control what people make it out to be. I don't control Nota thinks he knows everything. I don't control that. People can decide for, you know what I mean? And I don't care.
Yeah, because earlier on I did honestly want to ask you, why isn't that? Because this is going to be a whole, like a totally different experience of Nota that people are going to have after watching an hour of this podcast. And I'm very happy about that. Thank you for the content. And I almost asked you earlier on that, why isn't it that this is the Nota that you choose to present all the time? And I guess you've just answered it. You know, you cannot control the conclusions drawn from whatever you choose to display.
You've met me.
I have.
99.99999% of the people that talk about me have never met me. Might never meet me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it is what it is. You know, it's the nature of the beast. But, you know, there is no one that knows me, that has encountered me, that has lived with me, that has any valid reason to speak negatively or disparagingly about me, other than the fact that they're either envious or jealous of me, or that I gave them so much that they feel guilty that they can never repay me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Look, we have to draw to a conclusion of this episode, but I can never let you go without wanting to find out. There's a lot of contentious questions that I must ask, and
ask.
A lot of them are going to be for the viewers and not necessarily for myself. But
okay.
How do you feel when you look around and it just seems like you're making a lot of enemies? And again, take nothing away from yourself. You don't need a lot of people to make the things that you want to do happen. But doesn't it concern you that, you know, and again, not that you care about that, but you're not in Black Coffee's good books, Casper's good books, AKA's good books. The list is quite lengthy. I'll just drop those.
So there's a saying, there's no permanent friends and there's no permanent enemies in politics.
Yeah.
You know? You know what I mean? So
Ace Makashule was in Durban, was in Uganda not so long ago. So yeah.
You know what I mean? Julius Malema was in Uganda.
Yeah.
After saying Jacob Zuma must fall. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that's what it is. Yeah. At the end of the day, you know, for me, I wouldn't say, I don't think I've made any enemies. I think anyone who's my enemy has always been my enemy. I think I just exposed them.
Yeah.
Like, to be quite honest, you know, I just exposed them. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I exposed, like, that Black Coffee is the type of guy who will send, you know, cops, thugs to come try and rough me up, you know, allegedly, you know. Yeah. As well, you know, I wouldn't say AKA is my enemy, or no. I wouldn't even say Casper is my enemy. You know what I mean? I wouldn't but my relationship with AKA and my relationship with Casper is different. AKA is the same dude. I used to be in a group called the Bloody Agents.
Yeah. With
a friend of mine, Younger Chief. or my former colleague at Bada Bing, Younger Chief, ne? We used to be in a group called the Bloody Agents. These motherfuckers looking like some bloody agents. Plenty bottles, but nobody's at your table. That's AKA Victory Lap. That's 2010 or 2011. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I did a song as the Bloody Agents. We made a song called Party Karate. It played on radio a couple of times on a couple of radio stations, AKA once tweeted, "What the fuck is Party Karate?" Who was he talking about? He was talking about me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I didn't send a cease and desist letter.
Yeah.
For that. And, for me, like, this phase that he's going through right now, for me, I don't hold anything against him. He feels like, he's being punished. And should he be punished? Yes, he should. You know what I mean? He should be punished. He broke through a fucking door like a madman.
Yeah.
Like a deranged madman. Like, that's sorry for the swear word, but I mean, like, that's, if I want to knock your door down, I'll kick it on the handle. I'll kick it where the handle is, and then the door will open. I won't.
Rick and Ralph.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And for me, it's like, bro, after I've supported you so much, I've invested so much in supporting you. I'm a fan.
Yeah.
You understand? I'm a fan. I've invested so much in... You can't let Casper win like this. Not like this, bro.
Yeah.
Like, is this how... You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can't let him win like this, dog.
Yeah.
You can't, dog. After we've invested so much and now you self-destruct.
Yeah.
And
seconds away from your victory lap. Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're a fucking disappointment. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And I'm disappointed in you. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And because you're a public figure, if I express my disappointment, it's going to be known. It's going to be written about because now I'm also a public figure. You understand?
Yeah.
And just like I chose it, so did you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you must take it like a man. And we're not enemies.
Not suppress whoever commentates on it.
Don't try. You know what I mean? And the thing is that it's not that he didn't do it publicly. He didn't send a lawsuit publicly. I made it public.
Why'd you do that?
Why not? Why not show you what I'm capable of?
Yeah.
If you're able to show me what you're capable of, I'll show you what I'm capable of. And at the end of the day, you understand? It's going to be a balance. And people are going to decide, and I'm not in control of what they decide.
Yeah.
But you will be held accountable for your actions. You know what I mean? And that's it. It's like, sometimes you need to accept the consequences of things that you've taken part in and things that you've done. And for me, I just felt like, he hadn't. And yeah. Hold on. Are we still recording on this side?
We're still there. We're still moving. Just one last thing. And it's a pity that I don't want to make this conversation too lengthy. But are you still?
Just to answer, there's no permanent enemies. Like that, I gave you that answer, but I just wanted to contextualize it and explain. Going forward. You know what I mean? Like all of them. I'll be cool. We'll smoke the peace patch with black coffee. He didn't do anything that wrong. He didn't do anything like that harsh to me. But obviously, I'll ask him like, "Yo, be honest. Did you send those cops to come and assault me? You know what I mean? Is that how you move? Is that like, you know what I mean? You couldn't have picked up the phone, called me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's very easy to get access to my numbers. So, that was his choice, at the end of the day. And that's how he chose to handle that situation. As for Casper, like, he needs to be down and out and in a desperate situation before he comes to me and asks me to help him or rescue him. But I'm always willing to help him and rescue him. You know what I mean? I've offered him my help many times. You know what I mean? I offered to help him with the Nadia Nakai project and everything else, and he didn't take that too seriously. I even spoke to her and her management, and they didn't take that too seriously. And although, I mean, it's nominated for a Sama, there's no one that feels like it deserves to win.
Yeah.
I mean, people don't even think it deserves to be nominated.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So, maybe one day she'll come around. Maybe she won't, but, I'm always willing to help there. Costa Titch, I feel like was hard done by, because his album should have at least been nominated for Best Hip Hop Album in the Summers, at least for that. The album itself sounds nice, and, it's because he's a white guy playing in a black sport and people are jealous of him that, they'll try and disregard him. But, at the end of the day, he's made his impact. And you can't discredit that. So, there's no permanent enemies. Nasty C as well, he's told himself that I'm an enemy of his. Yeah. But, like I said before, I'll be here long after all of the bads that want him now don't want him anymore. Yeah. And they've moved on to Blackie or whoever it is that they're going to move on to, whoever's next, So, it is what it is. He'll come around as well. I liked the interview he did with Sizwe Lomo. You know what I mean? Yeah. Where Sizwe really just blew his cover and cut him open.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, he'll have to learn from that. He'll have to grow from that. And I'm liking observing what's happening within the SA music scene right now. You know what I mean? And I'm liking contributing in the way that I do, whether it be just by commentating or whether it be by producing music or whatever, you know what I mean? Either way, we're moving forward, and either way, the game is better off for it. And to debunk a lot of the myths or a lot of the misconceptions that people might have had about the industry has also opened up spaces for other people. You know what I mean? And some people need to be humbled in order for other people to get the spotlight, and sometimes that's what you need to do. You know what I mean?
Maybe it's just a seasonal thing,
So let's say that you think you've seen the gatekeepers in the game, and you object to the gatekeepers in the game and how they're going about gatekeeping. You could yourself, if you've got enough credibility, decide that you want to be now the ultimate gatekeeper. You're the gatekeeper of the gatekeepers. Yeah. And that's the position I've put myself in as the authority.
Are you still looking to get your sister to presidency?
Well, it's about convincing her. It's not even about looking. It's about convincing her, But I think the best way to convince her that it's possible is to convince her that I can convince people to vote for her. Yeah. I can Roger Stone her, and so I'm working on that. I'm working on, that, just the political campaign and everything else. And then once I get it to a point where, the first things first is that, number one, I need to prevent Mzwandile Masina from retaking the mayorship of Ekurhuleni. So far I've been doing quite a good job of that. His biggest cheerleader, DJ Shimza. I've humbled him. He can't get involved in anything that's got any political affiliation going forward because people are going to call it out. It was on checkpoint. He said I need to fix my heart. He needs to fix his heart, because the mere fact that you feel entitled to benefit from taxpayers' money, just because you're a famous DJ who hands out shoes once a year, and you think you're a philanthropist. You're not a philanthropist. You're an opportunist. You know what I mean? And you're just doing whatever it is to either get a tax break or to buy people's favor. So now he's out of the equation. He can't go on campaigning for Mzwandile Messina, whatever. He can't host a live mix, an online mix. They have to use other guys, and those guys are not going to get the numbers like Shimza can. So, cool. So, I'm just dismantling him from afar, bit by bit. And if I can do that, that means that I can compete in the political space.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Somewhat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
I
that's what I'm proving for myself.
It's about letting the youth know that their vote actually counts. I know it's so cliche and it's something that's been said so much that there's a sense of disbelief that I don't really think my vote actually does count. And I remember the conversation we had, Nota, which is why I really admire, what you've been trying to do and chipping away at all of the nonsense that's been happening both in the political terrain and in the entertainment space, and when those two spaces are in coalition,
or they intersect.
Yeah, a lot. They really overlap. And for me, where I think what the youth really needs to know, because what you don't know is that from varsity level, like we had the conversation, from varsity level, kids have had enough. And
I know
the modern day politician is bred from that young, and they're taught from that age that access to SRC funds, those trips, having H1s to drive around, going to Taboo and Sumo, chowing. What do you think the term chowing is such a prominent term in South Africa and even in entertainment recently, because that's what they're known to do. And those are the same people that we go on to see in Parliament. You and I were talking about Nombendulo. And those are the future leaders that we have to look at.
Those are the coerced youth that end up being promoted into the formal political structures of the parties. And the party is over.
It's over.
No, seriously. Like, this is not even an after tears. The party is over. I'm talking about party politics. It's over for parties in South Africa.
Yeah.
The party is over because we've believed so much in the party, the institution that is the party.
Yeah.
Right? That it has led us to the point where we don't care about elections anymore, where more people don't vote than people do vote.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the voters of this country are in the minority.
Yeah.
And now the minority decides for the majority. And the majority is not going to accept the next decision made by the minority. We're back into apartheid, where the minority was deciding for the majority.
Yeah.
It's a different form of apartheid. It's not now. It's about.
They call it democratic centralism.
It's about the elite. The elites are going out there to vote. You know what I mean? Because it serves their interests.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I am DJ Shimza. I tell you, hey, vote for ANC because ANC pays me.
Yeah.
I'm Somizi. I say, yo, vote for ANC because ANC takes care of me when all other artists are struggling and whatever.
Yeah.
I don't care that I've got a job at the SABC, which is taxpayers' money, which is TV license payers' money, which is government-owned and everything else. I've got a good job there. I don't care that I've got another job at Idols. I don't care that I need to get every single check because I am famous and entitled to it so I can buy more Louis Vuitton to put on my Instagram. I don't have any hate against Somizi, but I do feel like, the celebrity culture has gotten to a lot of people's heads. A lot of people who, were well-intentioned people, are now just trying to compete against other celebrities because otherwise you're not doing the things. And to get the bag, you need to look like you've got a bag.
And they must really safeguard against, some of the tactics and strategies used by people in authority, because they end up being the face for a lot of campaigns that they've never taken time to decide whether they agree or disagree with. They probably have frustrations with the economy and their geographic placement that can be blamed on the very same people that they collect bags from, which for me is
exactly crazy. And they're coerced and they have parties with them. You have a party, you'll have Black Coffee standing there with Fikile Mbalula, Mzwandile Messina and everything else. And when he was struggling and in the hood and everything else, these government people weren't helping him. He had to get to a certain level, and now because he's at a level where they can assist him with a bag and everything else. Now he feels like, no, these guys must be my friends. And he doesn't hold them to account. And I take great exception to that.
Yeah.
You know, with great power comes great responsibility. If you are able to find yourself in the room with these powerful people, influence them to do the right thing.
Yeah.
You understand? Influence them to do the right thing, because you come from these communities, Somizi. Well, maybe not Somizi, because both his parents were super famous. You know what I mean? But you come from these communities, Nati. You understand?
Yeah.
You know the struggles of students. You went to UKZN where you studied. You understand? You know the struggles of those people back then. And those struggles still continue to this day, because you go and perform for these people at these universities. You go. As artists, we get to see everybody. You understand? You get to go to the universities, you get to go to the churches, you get to see everybody in every level of society that there is. You understand? So we know the struggle of the people. So how can we be dancing with the politicians that are putting them in such a disposition, knowing what they are doing to these people, and then enriching ourselves off of taxpayers' money, you know, at the behest of these politicians that we want to be rubbing shoulders with? For a bag, it's disgusting. It's disgusting. And I am disgusted. When I look at the entertainment industry and I look at the politicians of today and look at it, I am disgusted by these people. And if you ask me, okay, fine, there's no permanent, I'm not enemies with any of them. I'm just disgusted.
Yeah.
You know, can I be disgusted?
And I think the success of all of these politicians really does lie in silencing the likes of you.
Yeah. If they can silence me, if they could give me a bag to keep me quiet, they would have done it. But I can't be bought by them, because there's no bag that they have that is as heavy as what I am.
Yeah.
You understand? So, like, if for me, I'm gonna be with the truth. I can't be silenced with a bag.
Yeah.
All these guys are silenced with a bag. Usomizi can go on Instagram live, and talk about all these things, about relationship problems, about all these things, but he can't talk about what's happening in our communities. DJ Shimza can't talk about how long it's taken for the BRTs to be put up in Tembisa, where the whole entire pandemic and everything, only now is the BRT stations being done. But even so, those BRT buses, only on the BRT lanes are those roads actually proper. If you go elsewhere in Tembisa, the roads are in disrepair. There's sewage on the streets. If you go outside in Soweto, in Pimville, where Konka is, you understand? They've got all these expensive cars that are parked there. Why are they parking the expensive cars in Konka, in the middle of the poverty of a township which cannot even pay its electricity bills?
Man.
Why? Because they want to take advantage of the young, impressionable girls who will be flocking to that nightclub looking for someone who can take them out of the poverty that they're confronted with each and every single day. When we're seeing these girls going away with blessers, we shouldn't be saying, these girls or whatever. No, they're desperate. They don't see any other way, any legitimate way for them to actually make a proper living. They're trying to get their families out of the poverty that they're confronted with each and every single day. And what we're seeing as an example is like, oh no, just dance on a table, just be there with the blessers and everything else, and they'll get you Louis V and everything else. Because when they go onto Instagram and they look at whoever's timeline, whether it be, any of these celebrities, any of these female celebrities, any of them, you look at their timeline and everything else, and their salary, you can't tell me SABC pays anyone enough to be going away with Versace bags and, Louis Vuitton bags and traveling and doing. No, we know a lot of these female celebrities have got blessers. Why? Because as soon as one gets engaged to someone who's got a lot of money, all of a sudden they're living the same life as the single girls who've got blessers. You understand?
Yeah.
So that's the situation we're in. Like, that's what we're seeing. You understand what I'm saying? That's what we're seeing. So for me, I'm disgusted. Yeah. It's not just men, it's men and women. I'm disgusted by the men that take advantage of women who are actually denied economic opportunities and are taking advantage of the patriarchal system that we live in. You understand? They take advantage of the poor, impressionable girls. They take advantage of the pretty, famous girls. You know what I mean? They take advantage of everything. And then we wonder why we've got 4 times the HIV infection rates in young girls as we do in young boys. It's because guys can't afford to get that AIDS from those girls.
Yes. AIDS is a commodity.
You understand? It is.
Yeah.
It is because it like you can get it and get a bag for it, and then get ARVs for free.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As like and still look good on the gram and everything else, and it's like it's being treated as if it's normal. You know what I mean? And it's not even. I don't want to stigmatize HIV because I've lost way too many family members to it. Myself, but that is it. You know what I mean? That's what we're seeing. Someone will say, no, but you're jealous. It's black business and everything else. No, bro. Don't put Konka in Pimville. Don't put it there. If that's a clientele that you want, don't put it in poverty. Don't exacerbate the inequality.
Yeah.
There's other things that you can put in that community that can serve that community. It doesn't serve that community to have people drive their expensive cars from wherever they stay in the suburbs in Sandton and wherever and the West Rand and drive the expensive cars, spend a shit ton of money on alcohol just so that they can impress these girls who live in poverty, take them back to their cribs. You understand?
And the only employment you're gonna get is being what do you call a hostess.
You know what I mean? I've got no problem with the hostesses. I've got no problem with the hostesses and everything else. But let that environment be in the place where it serves that economic class that lives there.
Yeah.
Don't let it be in Soweto, where people can't even pay for electricity, where they owe billions of rands to Eskom.
Yeah.
You understand? Don't let it be there. Move that situation elsewhere. If you want people to have fun, ekasi, let it be a nice, simple, busy corner type vibe. Don't bring, I saw a slip of someone at Hangout Lounge in Tembisa spending 70,000 rands at the bar. What could you do with that 70,000 rands in Tembisa right now that could actually assist that community? There's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot. And it's being spent at one place and whatever. Okay, no, hey, Shimza, oh yeah, clean, you know what I mean? No. We don't want that. We don't want you to bring such places that are elitist to our townships because we cannot afford them. And we don't want you to give us something and then say, okay, no, Youth Day, I'll let you guys have a little market here where you can sell your cheap-ass products, which none of the clientele that comes here actually wants.
Yeah.
They're just doing it up because I just spent 70,000. Okay, let me buy all this stock.
Yeah.
You understand? I could give this person a capital investment in their business and help them scale up their business and something like that. I could actually invest this money. But now it's being spent on what? On liquor, to drink. Julius Malema is able to go to 8 and tell people, oh no, our youth mustn't be addicted to liquor and drugs and all this stuff. But at the same time, you party with these guys.
Yeah.
You're out there, about Uncle Vinny are coming to your things. You're not saying, Uncle Vinny, when you grow up, I don't want you to end up like these guys who all their money is being made off of selling poison to the public.
Voice for this.
I want you to at least, be independent of mind. I don't want these guys to coerce you or anything else. No, but I want to use you, Uncle Vinny. Yeah, I'm Julius Malema, yes. You are Uncle Vinny. You are coming into this game. You are new. You don't understand. You are the president of the youth. So I'm going to use your youth. I'm going to take your enzymes and use them as an elixir, as a fountain of youth. I'm going to use you as a fountain of youth so that I can reach out. Oh, Julius Malema was partying with Uncle Vinny. So now the kids must also know. Nonsense. You understand? Like you are being played there. You're being played. And the way in which our politicians are playing our people and then flashing them with Versace bags on Instagram.
Yeah.
At the same time, in the most unequal country in the world, a country that's getting more and more unequal. Even now, it's getting more and more unequal. As in the apartheid government was fairer than the current dispensation.
Yeah.
Was fairer in all the years that they oppressed us from 1910 all the way until 1990. You understand? In all those years, in that 80 years, we still had more than in the past 27 years.
That's crazy. Look, Nota, history is definitely going to remember men like you who are unwavering in their approach to condemning whatever's wrong with society. And I'm so glad you came to the platform. I knew that this, if anything, this was the desired effect. This was the conversation that I really wanted to have. And
Did you ask any of the hard questions? You asked one hard question.
look, with someone like you, it'll continue. It'll continue. There's not much that I can ask you. I'm yet to consume.
No, I'm telling you. You said there's certain things that you wanted to ask me, and you need to. You're compelled to ask me. You know what I mean?
Look.
Because your people in the comments say, "Oh, you should have asked him. You should have said, what about this one? What about this one? What about this one?"
It's okay. You've given us content and probably covered even more than what I would have asked. You've done way more justice than what I would have asked. But again, I just want to emphasize the point that history is going to definitely remember men like you who aren't ashamed of speaking about what's honest, no matter how unpopular it is at that point. And that's essentially the message that I wanted you to come and deliver, because it was just youth, June 16, and we are in Youth Month, and these are some of the messages that need to be resounding. There's not many podcasts that have the content that we have today, content that's gonna dig deep into certain people's consciences and say, are you giving back? Are you leaving a footprint that's worth remembering? And you've done that, bro. Thank you so much for rocking up, man.
Yeah, man. Thank you for having me. I'm actually trying to see what okay. Yeah. Okay, now I can see. Yeah. Thanks for having me. I think the most important thing is that, we need to have these conversations. Podcasts are also very important because they're allowing us to have these conversations. Yeah. They're allowing these conversations to happen on a forum that's not going to take away the nuance and stifle you in 280 characters. Yeah. Back when we didn't have as much data and everything else, you know what I mean? Twitter was genius. We've moved beyond that. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Please, to everyone, don't forget to subscribe to Man Designs on YouTube. Follow us at Newkid_T45 on Twitter, and also follow me at Newkid Vlog on Instagram. What's up?
Yeah, tell people to like this thing, like it, send it to as many people, broadcast it on WhatsApp to as many people, make sure as many people get this message and everything else. Whether they love or hate, you know what I mean? In the comments, tell me how much you hate me. I'll be in the comments as well. Yeah. You know what I mean? Tell me how much you disagree. Let's debate this, but let's keep the conversation going. You know what I mean? Let no one be so married to their own opinion that they don't want to hear anybody else's. And don't let yourself be shut down. And go out there, research, learn as much as you can. I learn a lot. I spend my entire time listening. You don't understand. I spend 90% of my day listening.
Yeah, you always have these on.
and I have these on because I'm listening. You know what I mean? So listen, guys. Watch, learn, and thank you for having me. And thank you for just being you, man. I wish you all the best for this platform. Please be consistent with it, because it will start to bear fruit. It will start to it'll start to bear fruit. The elections are coming up. You know what I mean? If you don't feel like there's a party that represents you that you want to vote for, don't vote. Yeah. Don't vote. Let that be your vote, right? But understand that if you don't vote and the party that you don't want then takes power, you are still responsible for that.
Yeah. It's been great to be with everyone. You can on the vlog. Thank you very much.